rahmat dan rahimmu ke atas majlis ini, iaitu advocate yang diadakan pada hari ini. Berkatilah ia dari awal hingga akhirnya. Ya fa'alul lima yurid. Kami juga memohon perlindungan daripadamu dari segala perkara yang boleh mencacat celakan majlis kami, dan daripada segala perkara yang melalaikan, dan dari perbuatan taat kepadamu. Padamu juga kami serah segala urusan kami. ربنا عليك توكلنا وإليك أنبنا وإليك المصير ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم والحمد لله رب العالمين.
Amin, amin ya rabbal alamin. Majlis merakamkan setinggi-tinggi penghargaan dan terima kasih kepada saudara Muhammad Irfan Kushairi atas bacaan doa itu tadi. Majlis mempersilakan Prof. Datuk Dr. Rashida Ramli, Fellow Utama Institut Kajian Malaysia dan Antarabangsa, untuk mencapaikan ucapan dan seterusnya merasmikan program Good Aid on the Road. Dipersilakan.
Terima kasih saudari Nisa. Okay. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera, selamat. Kita malam tu tak adalah malam sangat dah, tapi selamat petang kita. Masih the day is still young. Okay. Alright. Saya cuma ada beberapa perkara saja yang nak cakap ni, tapi tak banyak ya. Because I don't think you want to hear me. Alright. Okey, pertamanya seperti mana yang kita tahu tadi, kita program petang ni memang ada objektif pentingnya adalah untuk meningkatkan kepekaan terhadap isu perdagangan manusia, atau lebih dikenali perdagangan orang. Okey. Yang keduanya, kita hendak melibatkan para pelajar untuk menjadi advocate. Okey, satu advokasi, kerana saudara-saudari lah yang sebenarnya tinggal di kawasan masing-masing, di negeri masing-masing, di bandar masing-masing, and you can actually observe ya, kemungkinan ada mangsa yang menjadi mangsa perdagangan orang. Okay? Isu ni isu besar, isu yang merentasi sempadan, okay? Dan melibatkan berbagai bidang. Jadi kita tahu bahawa pelajar-pelajar di sini daripada banyak bidang. Okey, ada yang daripada sains teknologi, FST, ada yang sains politik, ada yang mungkin ekonomi. Okey, because perdagangan manusia ni melibatkan pelbagai bidang. Kalau kita nak buat untuk mengintip dan sebagainya, untuk nak tengok the movement, then we will need technology. Okey, the police will need the technology. Alright. Dari segi dasar, kita ada majlis anti perdagangan orang, MAPO. Majlis itu memerlukan feedback, sama ada dasar yang kita ada itu mencukupi atau tidak. So kalau pelajar dari sains politik, sosiologi, antropologi itu semua, you can actually give that kind of an input. Okay? Jadi kalau yang daripada keagamaan, okay, fakulti Islam contohnya, dan mungkin dari segi kerohanian, dari segi adab dan sebagainya, that will come into play. Jadi semua bidang yang ada di UKM, dan jadi maknanya semua orang pelajar di sini boleh menyumbang ya, ke arah advokasi untuk membenteraskan perdagangan orang, terutamanya wanita dan kanak-kanak. Baru ni saja ada kes ya, di Langkawi. Ya, a little kid hilang dalam masa 2 hari, dibunuh. So what happened? Mungkin ke arah perdagangan kanak-kanak. Kita tak tahu lagi cerita seluruhnya. So all these kind of things are happening. Mungkin ahli keluarga kita sendiri. Dan perdagangan ni bukan saja untuk sexual form dan sebagainya. Tapi kalau macam orang nak curi kita punya anggota, your kidney, your eyes, all this kind of thing, itu pun perdagangan. Jual anak pun perdagangan. So we must know all these issues. Okay? So please, so we can have the interaction. Kita agak informal lah ya. Yang kedua, ucapkan terima kasih kepada penganjur-penganjur. Okey, penganjur-penganjurnya first of all College Burhanuddin Hilmi, Cik Mona kita ada di sini. So thank you, and kepada Majlis Eksekutif Pelajar. Ini semua ni yang ada ni, yang telah menguruskannya, ya, Sarah. Thank you. Inilah yang membawa orang lah apa dan sebagainya, membantu. So saya ucapkan terima kasih. Dalam poster ni, if you look, ada beberapa logo lagi. Ya, jadi kita ni, the best is to always work in partnership. Okay, supaya kita boleh menjangkau lebih jauh lagi. So dalam partnership kita ada beberapa organisasi di situ. Okay, dalam UKM, Institut Kajian Malaysia dan Antarabangsa. So I am from IKMAS. The institute cuma offer program untuk postgraduate studies, masters and PhD. Okay. Ada miau pun kat sini. Nak dengar kita punya program ni, ya. So within IKMAS, okay, we offer program for Malaysian Studies and International Studies. Dan salah satu topik memang berkaitan dengan perdagangan manusia. Now another partner, rakan strategik kita ialah National Council for Women's Organisation, Majlis Pertubuhan Wanita Malaysia. Majlis ini wujud sejak tahun 1963, jadi dah berumur 55 tahun. Di dalam majlis ni ada lebih kurang 115 organisasi di seluruh Malaysia. Jadi dia majlis untuk affiliate, ya, organisasi lain organisasi sebanyak 115 itu berinteraksi ada di seluruh Malaysia. Jadi kita ada partners, ya. Dan of course terima kasih kepada Project Liber AIDS. Okay, so I have my friends over here, and kita actually bersama-sama dalam satu koalisi. Ada satu koalisi untuk anti pemerdagangan orang yang kita menjadi ahli, kerana kita memang mahu membantu kerajaan dari segi untuk mengenteraskanlah perdagangan manusia ini. Jadi terima kasih kepada semua partners untuk program ini. Partner yang tak ada kat sini, which I need to mention, is the Persatuan Sains Sosial Malaysia. Okay, so Persatuan Sains Sosial is also part of the partner within this program. Jadi objektiflah saya terangkan, bidang-bidang you guys insyaAllah boleh dikaitkan dengan topik yang kita bincang pada hari ini, ya. Saya dah ucapkan insyaAllah terima kasih kepada semua, dan saya harap kita semua boleh manfaatkan daripada program pada malam ini, ya. Jadi dengan itu saya merasmikan program ini dengan lafaz Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Saya rasmikan program ini dan kita teruskan.
Terima kasih diucapkan kepada Prof. Datuk Dr. Rashila Ramli di atas ucapan dan perasmian oleh beliau sebentar tadi. Seterusnya, sudah tiba masanya untuk acara kemuncak pada malam ini. Dengan segala hormatnya dijemput wakil pihak projek Liber A, Tam Shui Wei, untuk menyampaikan forum mengenai isu pemerdagangan manusia. Dipersilakan.
พื่อหาเงินเลี้ยงดูครอบครัวของพวกเขามันเป็นงานหนักมากแต่พวกเขากลับไม่ได้รับการปฏิบัติหรือได้ค่าจ้างอย่างเป็นธรรมอย่างไรก็ตามยังมีแรงงานบางส่วนที่ไม่ได้เลือกงานนี้แต่ถูกหลอกลวงโดยกระบวนการค้ามนุษย์และถูกบังคับขู่เข็นให้ทำงานบนเรือประมง
ทำใจดีๆไว้นะครับเดี๋ยวทางเราจะพยายามช่วยทางที่นะครับพี่ครับครับผมเกิดอะไรขึ้นกับพี่ผู้หญิงคนนี้ครับแม่ทำงานสามี2-3 ครั้งเขามาติดต่อว่าเป็นช่างไม้คิดว่าผมจะยอมรับมากกว่าทางเราก็พยายามมาเต็มที่นะครับไม่รู้จักครับ
ชายหลายร้อยถูกช่วยเหลือจากการใช้แรงงานหนักอย่างไม่เป็นธรรมบนเรือประมงรัฐบาลและหน่วยงาน NGO จากทั่วภูมิภาคกำลังร่วมมือกันทำงานเพื่อหยุดยั้งการถูกบังคับใช้แรงงานบนเรือประมงเพื่อให้พวกเขาเหล่านั้นได้กลับบ้านไปหาครอบครัว ฉันขอโทษเดี๋ยวฉันทำแผลให้นะเลิกได้ไหมอ่ะโอ้ไม่ขอร้องอย่าไปเลยนะโอ้ไม่ไปนะแฟนฉันเขาให้มาเขาเป็นช่างไม้แต่วันนั้นน่ะมีนายหน้ามาชวนเขาให้เป็นช่างไม้ในเมืองบอกว่าจะได้รายได้หลายหมื่น
แต่ធ្វើការមួយបងអត់បានការងារល្អមានល្អ
แต่ตั้งแต่วันนั้นฉันก็ไม่ได้ยินข่าวเขาอีกเลย
ำให้ไม่เป็นชาวประมงมันคือการขัด สูงผมห่วงใยและคุณล่ะ
So that was an example of how human trafficking could look like. Hi everyone, can you hear me? Yeah. My name is Shrewe. That is still really loud. My name is Shrewe and I'm from Project Liberate. We are a anti-trafficking organization that advocates to shift perceptions and behaviors of people towards the human trafficking issue. So first of all, I'd just like to thank College Martin Hilmi and Dr. Rashila for this wonderful opportunity. And thank you all for being here at night, you know. Yeah. So I just wanted to start off by talking about my first encounter with human trafficking. But firstly, who here has heard of human trafficking before today's event? Like, can you raise your hands? Like you have heard of, you might not know what it is, but you have heard of human trafficking. Okay, and for those who raise your hands, do you think that you could be a solution, like you could provide a solution to the human trafficking issue? Do you think so? Like if you do, can you raise your hand? Okay, so some people know have heard of human trafficking, but you don't think that you can provide a solution. But don't worry, I hope that through today's talk, we can change that perception of yours. Now, just a little background story of my first encounter with human trafficking. I actually first heard of human trafficking when an organization came to my secondary school. So I heard about it when I was only 17 years old. And this is what I learned about human trafficking back then. Human trafficking is a situation whereby a person is tricked, sold, or forced into a slave-like situation to be exploited for profit. Exploited means to be used for profit. So this could be in the form of sexual exploitation, forced labor, and so on and so forth. When I first heard about human trafficking, I don't quite remember what exactly I knew about it, but I remember feeling quite upset about it. Because the trafficking that I first learned about was child trafficking. So its examples could be children who are kidnapped to be begged on the streets, or it could be child labor when they are forced to work in factories for long hours and for little pay. And I felt quite upset about that because it made me think about my own younger siblings who were 13 and 15 at that point in time. And I thought about how they could be a victim of human trafficking. But we don't even know about it. We have never even heard about it. No one even talks about it in school, in families. So that was why at that event, I felt really, really motivated. I was like, yes, I want to be it. I want to be the world changer. I want to change the world. And immediately on the spot, I signed up to be a volunteer. But of course, at 17 years old, I had more important things to worry about. I was doing SPM that year, and I forgot all about my excitement of a few days of wanting to volunteer. But you know, these kind of things, they stick with you, which is why we're here to talk to you today, because we hope that whatever we tell you today would stick with you in the back of your mind, because one day you might want to do something with human trafficking. So yeah, back to the story about how I joined Project Liberate. So after SPM, I started volunteering for several events, and I was scrolling Twitter one day to check out, who here uses Twitter? Yeah, Twitter users. Okay, so I was scrolling my timeline one day and I saw Project Liberate, and I was like, ooh, this cool youth organization does events, and they're actually raising awareness about human trafficking, which is a topic that I learned about a few months ago in school, and now I was interested, right? So I decided to join them, and next thing I know, I was at their meetings, I was volunteering at their events, and started joining them for shelter visits and so on. Now, through all my journey in Project Liberate, you tend to hear more and more stories about victims. So maybe I can share a story, one of the stories that stayed with us. So this story is about a father from Bangladesh. He was a very hard worker back home, right? But then one day, a recruiter came up to him and was like, hey, do you want to work in Malaysia? You can get way more pay, you can pay for your children's education, you can support your family better. And he thought hard about it because he would have to go to a brand new country, a foreign country where he has never been, right? But he decided, you know what, for family, he had to do it. And so a few months down the line, he found himself in Malaysia with a job at a restaurant as promised. But what he later realized is that one, they only paid him 300 ringgit a month, which was not what was promised. And secondly, his passport was taken away from him. And remember guys, if anyone takes away your passport, that's a red flag. Your passport is like your life, your IC, you know, when you're in a different country, if you don't have your passport, you're gonna have a lot of trouble. So he didn't have his passport and he was only paid 300 ringgit a month. And so he felt very trapped and helpless. But regardless of that, he had to continue on because his family back home was waiting for him to support them. And so we've heard stories, but one of the things that he did was he started dumpster diving. Have you guys heard of dumpster diving? It's like when people like search through garbage and so on. So what he was doing was he was looking for food, either like fresh vegetables or rather thrown away vegetables or like, you know, just any food. And what he did was to be able to earn that extra side income, he started digging out the more fresh vegetables and he fried them and he sold it to other migrant workers who might be only be able to afford like a 1 ringgit lunch for that day. And for the other food that he found, which might have been more rotten or, you know, less edible, he just kept for himself because he needed to earn that extra income, right? Because he wanted to send it back to his family. And many months later, he finally managed to gain a good number of like amount that he wanted to send back home. And sadly, another misfortune landed him when he was on the way to the bank. He was robbed by a Malaysian local. And so he started breaking down on the streets and like crying because obviously he was devastated because he was preparing to send this money back home to his family, to his wife, to his children. And this is where something miraculous, I would say, happened. So another Malaysian local was passing by and he or she saw this migrant worker and decided to help him. So I think he's been observing this migrant worker and how like he's been mistreated in the restaurant and things like that. Like he could identify that perhaps this was a trafficking situation. He was not sure, but he thought it might be. So he went up to help the migrant worker. And next thing you know, the hotline was called and the migrant worker from Bangladesh managed to get help from a non-profit organization. So this is one of the stories that we like to tell because it reminds us about how like one person's power of being aware of the indicators of human trafficking could so easily change a person's life. And yeah, so like I mentioned in the story earlier, so the person who helped noticed like these are some of the signs, but to be honest, there are many signs that like gather together to make up a human trafficking situation. But if you ever see anything that might be a trafficking situation, always call the hotline, which is 03 8000 8000. So these are some signs that could help you identify whether someone might be in a trafficking situation, which is, do they look anxious or fearful? Like when you talk to them, do they look like they don't want to talk to you because they might be afraid that their employer might be watching? The employer who threatened to keep him here and harm him if he doesn't follow. And also, is the worker's passport being taken away? Identification documents. And is he or she paid very little or unpaid? That is also a really huge red flag for forced labor. So yeah, and these are the kind of stories that remind us about why we continue to do the work that we do. And one of the questions that people like to ask us at Project Liberate is, how have we come to this far? Like, we've actually been around for 8 years now. This is our 8th year. And our journey so far hasn't been smooth sailing, I would say. Like, at the start, it would always start with people thinking that we were too young because we started as just a team of 19-year-olds wanting to do something about the human trafficking situation. And on top of that, many people don't really think that prevention/awareness about trafficking is as important as other aspects. And also, we had many funny hiccups in the past. We were inexperienced in organizing events at first, obviously. One funny story would be when we held a film screening in our previous university, and we wanted to have 100 people, but guess how many people turned up in the end? Like, what? Did you say 5? Okay, well, it wasn't 5, but it was 25, you know? But, you know, obviously it was very disheartening at the time to want to have 100 people and only have 25 people. But if there's one thing that we took away from all these less successful organizations is that it makes us regain our focus and like continue to reflect on why we're doing this. Why are we really doing this? You know, why does this organization exist? Remember that it's because we know the importance of awareness and we want to continue spreading the message. And there's so many more failure stories that I can share today, but I won't bore you with the story. But why am I sharing with you this like failures, right? It's because we believe in the power of people. Like why we're talking to you here today is also thanks to the partnership with Dr. Rashila that we have. And this is one example about how partnership and the people that we reach out to can change a lot. So we've organized 8 events in the past. And through these 8 events, we reached out to, we reached out to 153,000 audience, reached out to 240 youth volunteers, and we have 22,000 youths empowered. And we can't do all of the events that we've done in the past without your help. So, like one example is I'll share is, who here follows social media influencers? Everyone's like, no? Are you sure? Well, I saw someone nodding. You don't follow social media influencers? That's fine, because do you realize that you are an influencer yourself? Do you think you're an influencer yourself? No? Why not? What? Sorry? You don't have too many followers. You know, that's a good point. But I'll tell you why you are actually an influencer in your own way. Do you think you've ever influenced someone to read something or watch a movie or wear something? You have, right? You write reviews about books or movies, or you get your friends to eat at this like mama because you think it's really yummy. Like you've done these kind of things, and the little things that you say have influence. So here at Project Libre, what we really love to do is get young people like ourselves, I mean I'm young too, okay, like ourselves to actually influence the people around us by talking about human trafficking issues and being aware of the indicators. Imagine how the world would look like if everyone cared about at least one social issue and acted on it. Like what are some of the social issues that you care about? Does anyone want to give a try? Did someone say education? Wait, I saw someone at the back, yes. Did you want to share what's one social issue you care about? Environmental issue and climate change. That's great. Okay, so can you name like one way that how have you influenced your friends or the people around you to care about the issue or? Okay, so you carpool and you take the bus and you clean your plates, but I'm not too sure how cleaning your plates relate though. But maybe you could explain afterwards. But yes, those are the kind of ways that, you know, individual influence can definitely influence the people around you. But today we hope that another cause you might think about taking up on is human trafficking. And the small ways that you could help, I will explain afterwards. So, today we are also here to invite you to join us in our cause to fight human trafficking. One of the ways that we like to do is we actually partner with like youths and schools to create campaigns and things like that. Maybe I can share some examples of what were the events that we've done in the past, and you can let me know if any of this interests you. Does anyone recognize who this guy is? What? Sorry? Sean. Oh, okay, he's quite popular then. Yeah, so some examples of like events we've done in the past, which you could think about how, like one of the things that we do through our Advocate series is that we want to get people to volunteer their talents and skills with organizations who need this kind of skills. So what we do, for example, is in Advocate Hack. Like, do you guys know what a hackathon is? Yes? No? Who is talking? I can see. Do you know what a hackathon is? Yeah, it's like when software developers gather and they like try to hack for a solution. So they gather together for like 2 days in a venue, and then they gather together to come up with either an app or a system that could solve a problem. So in 2017, we did Advocate Hack, where we had 160 software developers come together, and then we told them, hey, this is Malaysia's human trafficking problem, and these are the kind of solutions that we need. We need you to help us fill up these technological gaps. And at the end of the event, we actually had 30 prototypes that came out of that, and currently we are working on a few that are trying to be funded and trying to be made into actual apps. So this is like one example of how your existing skills and talents could be used. Does anyone here like vlogging or making videos? Yes? Cool. So you're gonna join our event. Maybe we'll create another one in the future. We did Advocate YouTube 1 year, and how Advocate YouTube works is we invited 7 YouTubers, YouTube channels actually, and we invited aspiring filmmaking students from several universities to come together to create public service announcement videos. So how they worked is like we told them about human trafficking issues, and we got them to go to shelters, to visit the community on ground, and then together they created 8 videos in total that reached out to 2.5 million audience online worldwide. So this is the kind of impact that you can tell, and obviously the YouTubers have like their own followings, right? So this is their way of influencing the people around them and influencing their followers to be interested in the human trafficking issue. And there are several key takeaways that I hope by the end of my presentation today you would take away with you. Firstly, please volunteer your skills and talents to organizations out there such as Project Liberate or even our partner organizations. One of the reasons why we always encourage youths like yourself to volunteer your skills is because 1, you have a ton of time. And 2, if you want to build your portfolio, what better way to do it than to volunteer with an organization, right? And the kind of skills that we need varies, so it varies from copywriting, video making, writing in general, social media management, event management. So if any of this rings true to you, or you feel yeah, I want to volunteer for that, feel free to sign up on our portal on our website. And secondly, be an influencer to the people around you. And influencer has a really negative stigma nowadays, but what we mean is that you should be a social influencer of your own. Why can't you influence at least 1 or 2 person around you? One of the things that we love hearing after our events is when someone comes up to us and says, hey, I really want to learn more about this issue, or hey, I really want to tell my friends and family about it. Yes, please do it, because we don't want to just reach to the people in this room. We want to reach to the people in this room and your friends and your family and your classmates. And lastly, please save the hotline number in your phone, 03 8000 8000. This is actually the national trafficking hotline. So if you see any suspicious trafficking activity at all, like just pick up the phone and just call. Because there will be teams out there who will investigate your suspicions. And whether or not it is actually a human trafficking situation, you never know. But if you don't call, then that person might never get help. And so, please take action. And yeah, I think that's all for my presentation for today. Before I end, this is just our social media. If you'd like to follow us, we are Project Liberate on all social medias, LIBR8. And also today, we hope that you can sign up as a volunteer with us. If you are interested, feel free to come up front. And if you have any questions at all, feel free to come up to me. We welcome any questions at all about our journey, our work, and so on. Okay, so before I end, that's our founder, New Su Shern, actually. She's the one who started Project Liberate at the age of 19. And I think we're gonna, before we end, let's do like a mini Q&A, and whoever answers correctly can get like our merch, which we produced for our last campaign. Okay, so first question, what's the human trafficking hotline?
03.
Yes, this guy in yellow and red. Yes, there you. Okay, 03 8000 8000. Wow, you have great memory. Or did I repeat it too much? Okay, we have like a ton of prizes, so let's ask a few more questions. Name one of the events that we organized in the past. I mean, I shared two. No one? Maybe I should repeat myself. Name one of the events that we organized in the past. No. Okay, never mind. I'll just repeat it. It was Advocate Hack and Advocate YouTube, which was a hackathon and a filmmaking. Okay, let me ask something simpler then. So earlier I was sharing the story about the Bangladeshi father, and there was 4 indicators that could indicate human trafficking, right? Okay, the fastest person to raise up their hand can answer. So, can you please name me one of the indicators from the 4 earlier? Yes.
Anxious and doesn't make eye contact.
Anxious and doesn't make eye contact. Okay, cool. Thank you. Yeah. Okay, this is a toughie. You get 2. Yes. So it doesn't have to be exact, but you have to get like the brief idea and keywords. Who can tell me the definition of human trafficking? Everyone's like, what? Oh yes. You want to use the mic so that everyone can hear you?
So basically, I think in my own definition, human trafficking can mean that a person who is being tricked or being forced into something like a complot to get benefits of their effort without being paid fairly, and get justice about any kinds of harm that can come in the future. So,
okay, yeah, that's great. That was amazing. That was great. You basically touched on all the key points. Key points, which is when someone is tricked, sold, or forced into a slave-like situation to be exploited for profit. Yeah. Okay, Sushan has like another question. She wants to ask, when do you call the hotline number? When should you call the hotline number? Yes, I see your hand at the back. When you see something suspicious, yes. Simple as that. As soon as you see something that might be trafficking, call the hotline. I've done that several times myself. And then you'll get like you might get the KDN messaging you, like, hi Kwan, is this the area, yada yada, and then you should follow up with them and let them know if they need more details. Yeah, so that's it from me. Thank you so much for your attention tonight.
Terima kasih diucapkan kepada Tam Perwin atas perkongsian maklumat yang berguna pada kita semua untuk diambil perhatian dan iktibar bersama. Majlis dengan hormatnya mempersilakan Prof. Dato' Dr. Rashilah Ramli, Fellow Utama Institut Kajian Malaysia dan Antarabangsa, dengan diiringi Cik Najatul Munah binti Hamdan, Timbalan Pengetua Kolej Burhanuddin Helmi, bagi menyampaikan cenderamata penghargaan kepada pihak projek Liberty.
Kamera.
Students, I just want to take just have a few minutes of your attention. Now, the things which have been mentioned, ya, apa yang telah diterangkan oleh Liberty 8 is very important. Keep those numbers, okay, that hotline number, because you never know. You can actually make a change in the life of someone. Okay, setiap orang yang ada dalam bilik ni ada peluang untuk mungkin membantu mengubah nasib hidup seseorang. So please remember that, because I've seen too many cases, and especially kalau children involved, okay, forced labor, maybe not so much in our country, but you never know. Yeah, you see those children who are begging. There's got to be a syndicate out there. Yang members sekolah, they don't go to school and so on. So please, this is a very important issue. I hope you take it to your heart. Ya, supaya kita boleh jadi influencer to change the life of people. Okay, so with that, there's a lot more about human trafficking. We don't want to bore you, but go to the internet, check on it. Okay, check dalam internet tu macam-macam cerita ada. Dan memang kerajaan sedang berusaha, but we need the help of everybody. Tak boleh harap kerajaan sahaja. Okay, all the NGOs and all of you. So thank you very much. Okay, thank you.
Terima kasih kepada Prof. Dato' Dr. Rashilah Ramli di atas kesudian menyampaikan cenderamata penghargaan. Dan tiada untaian kata yang mampu dilafazkan selain ungkapan rasa syukur dan ucapan terima kasih yang tulus ikhlas buat semua yang